I walked away from my marriage after learning my wife was 8 weeks pregnant with someone else's child. After 3 years of total silence, she suddenly reached out. I gave up everything, my home, my dreams, even my wedding ring, and built a totally new life in a new state, far from the ruins of our marriage. I still struggle with trust, avoid relationships, and sometimes wonder if I'm even capable of love again. I stumbled onto this forum a couple weeks back and started reading everything I could find. Honestly, it was tough. Post after post from people whose hearts were absolutely wrecked. It was sad, but there was some weird comfort in knowing other people had been through what I had. I kept thinking, what advice could I possibly give? My own marriage was a disaster. But after talking to my ex-wife last week, I realized how eerily similar all our stories are. Just a checklist of the same painful steps, box by box. That's what finally made me want to share. We first met in Texas. I was 22, finishing up my military service, and she, let's call her Lauren, 29F, was 27 in her last year of nursing school. We both delivered pizzas at night to make ends meet. We hit it off fast and became friends, and after one unforgettable party, it turned into something much more. Honestly, Lauren chased me, but I was all in. By the time my enlistment ended, I was so head over heels for her that I took her to a fancy dinner and popped the question. She said yes. The first year of marriage was fantastic. I got along great with her family, and mine adored her. We did everything together. Everything started to shift in year 2. I was working full-time, going back to school at night for a civil engineering degree. I tried to make every minute we had together special and romantic, but you can't change the fact that there were just less minutes. I could feel her slipping away, disinterested, distant. So I gave up school, thinking my marriage was more important. I told myself I could finish my degree later. Didn't help. That's when I started to realize Lauren was someone who just gets bored and moves on, like a kid with old toys. I tried everything, gifts, trips, new kinds of dates. But it was like bailing out a leaky ship. She offered nothing back. You can't save something all by yourself. Then she started cheating. The signs, obsessed with protecting her phone and laptop, missing more and more, didn't want to talk or be touched. Affection plummeted to zero. Hugs and kisses were cold. Sound familiar? I've read this so many times here, it's like all cheaters use the same playbook. I knew something was up, but couldn't prove it. We lived in a fault-based divorce state, so evidence mattered, but she covered her tracks. Meanwhile, I was emotionally checking out myself. Eventually, she broke down and confessed to an inappropriate relationship with a coworker. Swore it was never anything physical. Looking back, I'd never heard the term trickle truth before this forum, but I recognize it now, that half story plus a pile of blame. She begged for us to work on things, wanted counseling. I believed her. Or pretended to. My heart and brain weren't talking to each other at that point. We did a few sessions of marriage counseling. The therapist was digging deep into the emotional affair, and I think Lauren felt cornered. After 4 sessions, she quit. But for a little while after, things actually seemed a bit better, like I had my wife back. I let myself believe things were fixed, pushed my doubts down. That fake peace lasted 6 months, until the same pattern started again. All the same signs. I confronted her twice. She brushed it off. Just stress. Probably immaturity, you know, your age gap. Our sex life stopped. She lost all interest, including in me. Then came D-Day. I came home one afternoon and found Lauren sitting on our bed in tears. I sat down, almost begging her, and asked what was going on. She said, "I'm pregnant." For a split second, I was over the moon, until my brain caught up. When was the last time we'd even been together? Months and months. I pressed her. How far along? 8 weeks. I stood up and left. She chased after me. Now, comparing that night to other stories on this forum, it's wild how cheaters all say the same things. It was just once. It didn't mean anything. I never stopped loving you. But that last one, that's the cruelest lie. I told her I was leaving for an hour. When I got back, I'd listen to whatever she had to say. I was shaking like crazy, furious. If I'd stayed, it wouldn't have ended well. I left and cried in a parking lot, completely destroyed. Something inside me just broke. It felt literal. My heart died that night, froze over, and it's still like that today. When I came back, I was just an ice-cold shell. I didn't need to act that way, it was real. Lauren started begging for a second chance, playing on how happy I'd been before I realized, saying we'd wanted a family, saying the baby was innocent and deserved a father. For 20 minutes, she begged. I just stared at her, silent. Eventually, she asked me to say something, anything. I told her, "You want forgiveness, but every word you say is a lie. If you want me to even consider it, start by telling the truth." Then I finally got it. It had been the same affair partner, AP. As before, all this time, it had always been physical, never emotional, according to her. She never loved the guy, only me. The AP didn't want anything but sex, was pressuring her to get an abortion. She didn't want to. She really wanted a family, wanted that with me. I told Lauren it was over. It had actually ended a year and a half earlier, but now I finally saw it. I told her to pack for 3 days and leave the house. We'd talk about next steps when I saw her again. She refused, kept trying to get me to listen, but I felt nothing for her. The part of me that loved her was just gone. I locked myself in the guest room. Next day, I talked to several lawyers and hired one. The paternity alone was plenty for an at-fault divorce. I wanted it uncontested, settled in mediation. That evening, Lauren actually tried to start something with me physically. I was stunned, disgusted, and told her point blank, that would never happen again. We mapped out the divorce. Our house was the biggest asset. Most of the debt was her student loan. I signed over the house so she could sell it. She planned to keep the baby, and I wanted her to have that money. I didn't want anything but to get free. I left with nothing but my Jeep, a sea bag of clothes, some tools, guns, and keepsakes from my military years. Nothing touched by her. I wanted none of it. The divorce took 13 months. I saw her twice for mediation. She was heavily pregnant. I thought seeing her would wreck me, but I felt nothing. She was a stranger. After it all wrapped up, I moved to Florida and took a government job. Underpaid, but easy. Bought a tiny house on the Gulf Coast, fixed it up myself. Got a boat, started fishing every weekend. Now I mostly keep to myself. I have barely any friends and almost never date. I just can't trust people. Women especially. I always assume anyone interested in me must want something. I'm 27 now, in shape, and some women find me attractive. But the thought of trusting someone enough to get close emotionally, that feels impossible. I've become a whole new man, basically the complete opposite of who I used to be. All my love these days goes to my black Labrador, Stormy. She's my shadow, goes everywhere with me. I can't say I'm happy, exactly. Sometimes I get triggered and feel this overwhelming loss. Rationally, I know I've lost nothing. The whole relationship was just smoke and mirrors, but feelings don't obey logic. At least with this job, I spend most of my time outside alone, and Stormy comes along a lot of the time. If I haven't found happiness in divorce, at least I found peace. And right now, I'll take that. Last week, the past dragged itself back to life. Lauren called me. No clue how she got my number. It couldn't have been hard, I guess. We talked for about an hour. She was pleasant at first, said she just wanted to see how I was doing. Pretty quickly, though, it was obvious she was testing the water for some kind of reconnection. She told me she'd had a healthy little girl 2 years ago. My ex's AP had never stepped up, barely saw his daughter, and she'd had to take him to court for support. She told me she was lonely and unhappy. I said I was sorry things weren't going well, but that was not my problem. I told her she broke me, and I still wasn't fixed. Straight up, I didn't love her, couldn't love anyone, and wanted out of her world for good. I told her she made all the choices, for her, for me, for her daughter. She left me with only one choice, to walk away. I asked her never to contact me again. What's wild is how every story on here ends the same way. A selfish choice hurts 3 people, including a baby who wasn't even born yet. If there's anything I wish cheaters could realize, it's that their actions ripple out and destroy lives in ways they'll never see. And if they're selfish enough to cheat, they probably don't care. Update 1. I shared my story here a few weeks ago. 3 years after we split, I've built a new life, but an isolated one. With no friends and almost zero trust. After talking with you all, I realized I shouldn't let Lauren have so much power over me anymore. Someone said I was still paying down an emotional debt I didn't owe, and they were right. I thought I'd taken nothing from my ruined marriage, but that wasn't true. I still had my wedding ring, tucked in a cigar box with other junk. I didn't feel anything for it, but maybe having it in my house was just a little emotional drain, poisoning whatever happiness I could build. Day before yesterday, Stormy and I went fishing on the Gulf, last day of grouper season. On a whim, I brought the ring with me and tossed it into the water. Now it's lying in the sand, about 15 miles west of Long Cabbage Key. When it sank, I swear I felt part of my burden sink with it. That little bit of gold felt like an anchor in my life. Letting it go was freeing. You all were right. It's not enough just to survive infidelity and divorce. It's time to actually live again. I've started dating a local girl. Took her to a party last night and had a great time. I owe you all a debt for your advice. For anyone just starting down this road, listen to the people who've been there. Don't grieve for something you never truly had. The ones you grieve for betrayed you. Freedom starts the second you let go of that weight. Time to live again. Update 2. For 3 years, I turned down every offer to date or have a real relationship. Finally, I decided to try again. Started seeing a girl about a year younger than me, never married. Things seemed to be getting pretty serious, and we started having those relationship conversations. That's when she hit me with a surprise. She's heavily into polyamory, can't be content with just one partner. I barely even knew what that meant. She had to explain it. Basically, we could each have physical relationships with whoever, as long as we were each other's home base emotionally. First, I thank her for her honesty. Hiding this kind of thing always causes problems. Told her I liked her a lot, enjoyed her company, would be happy to be one of her partners for a little while. But if we wanted to build something long-term, we should probably look elsewhere. She was sorry, said she liked me, but totally understood. Honestly, the whole thing was surreal. Am I a dinosaur? Do women even want faithful men anymore? Or is that just out of style? My ex cheated, and the next girlfriend wanted me to go on double dates with her, her other boyfriend, and one of his friends for me. Update 3. Today marks 3 years since my divorce became final. Not my wedding anniversary. That day passes unnoticed. 3 years since I got the final papers. If you want my full story, it's on my profile. Short version. My ex-wife, Lauren, had an on-again, off-again affair for a year and a half, eventually got pregnant by her AP. She tried to convince me maybe the baby was mine, that we could raise her together, and a lot of empty promises. There was really only one way to answer that. How am I? I'm fine. In fact, I barely even think about her anymore. Not sad, not really happy, just okay. But I keep getting told otherwise and don't know why. My sister, Anna, 24F, and her best friend came to visit before school started. They're at Memphis Uni this year, proud of her. They stayed a few days before heading to Tampa. Anna told me she was worried, that I've changed so much since the breakup she almost didn't recognize me, said I'm not over it. I told her I'm the same as ever. She thinks I'm unhappy, but I'm honestly just fine. Anna and her friend, without telling me, set up a dating app on my phone and started chatting with 2 women for me before telling me or asking permission, then insisted I keep it up after they left. I deleted it all, then lied about it to avoid worrying her. I feel bad about that, but I wish she'd believe I'm fine. My boss and his wife are close friends. They keep telling me it's unhealthy to be alone, that I'd be a great catch. She's tried fixing me up, but I'm just not interested. So I told them I was dating someone, lie. I hate lying, but I really just want everyone to stop worrying. Since the divorce, I've had 2 short relationships and a fling. The fling turned out to be with a married woman. When I found out, I told her exactly what I thought of that. One relationship just fizzled. The other ended mostly because I wasn't really into it. I'm just not comfortable with intimacy anymore. Maybe because I have nothing to give. I used to be outgoing and social. Now I keep to myself. Is being different such a bad thing? I can still love people, my sister, my dog. Stormy is still my ride or die, fishing partner and best friend. But social situations feel uncomfortable and awkward now. Most days, I just want to be far out on the boat under the endless sky, no one around. I'm not emotionless, I just don't feel emotions the way I used to. Not angry, not sad, not even really happy, just okay. Is that so awful? A lot of folks on this forum survive betrayal. Are you healed? Do people tell you you're not? How do you even know? Being cheated on will change you forever. Who you were before isn't who you'll be after. The people worrying about us mean well, and we love them for it, but honestly, we're just fine. Update 4. 3 years ago today, my divorce was finalized. The whole thing rarely crosses my mind now. Lauren was the love of my life, but now thinking about her is automatic. I don't even know if I remember how it felt. Can't picture her face sometimes. But I do remember that night, the one where she confessed everything. Months of stonewalling, Then finally the bombshell. She was having an affair, pregnant by her AP. I shouldn't have been shocked. The evidence was there. I knew but didn't want to admit. Thinking back, after it all came out, I didn't feel angry or sad, just numb. It was like all the noise in my head just went quiet, and everything became clear and final. Lauren was gone. The life I'd wanted was over and had never even really existed. The rest was just waiting for the papers to go through. I didn't yell. I wasn't even mad. I was just done. 2 weeks later, I left. Even now, thinking about it doesn't hurt. No sadness, no longing, nothing. What I've learned? Everything passes, even what feels so important in the moment. Love, people, it all moves past you. Don't hold on to what's lost. Let it go before it only hurts you more. Update 5. I'm 3 years into my new life in Florida, and I feel pretty okay. But my family and friends keep suggesting I get help because I've changed so much since the marriage ended. Honestly, they have a point. I used to be happier, loud, and outgoing. Now I keep almost entirely to myself, just me and Stormy. I don't make new friends, rarely date, but I don't think there's anything wrong with me. Yes, the breakup was traumatic, but isn't it normal to come through something like that changed? My sister Anna visited a few months ago. After 3 days, she was begging me to get therapy, so I started individual counseling. Some advice was useful, but mostly, it feels like it's getting out of hand. First thing the counselor asked, when was the last time you felt truly happy or sad? I thought for a bit and realized it's been ages. The last strong emotion I remember was the night my marriage ended. Since then, just fine. After a few sessions, the counselor said I have PTSD with a flat affect and wants to send me to psychiatrists, neurologists, and put me on medication with some scary side effects and big cost. Suddenly this feels like it's spiraling way beyond what I need. Maybe it's okay to just be okay. I'm seriously considering a new therapist or just dropping the whole thing. Any advice? That wraps up the whole story. The story is a stark portrait of how infidelity can leave scars that transform not just your relationships, but your entire sense of self. Sometimes, survival takes the form of shutting down, raising walls to keep the pain out for good, even if that means never being quite the same as before. Here is a question for you. Do you think it's possible to truly move on after a betrayal? Or are some wounds destined to change us forever? Share your thoughts below.